So I'm still running on 2 cylinders. I don't know if that stuff's any good, but I know those cylinders that I have disconnected and I pulled the plugs, which is why you hear that horrible noise. Those are the 2 cylinders that were putting exhaust pressure, well, combustion pressure into the cooling system, and then, you know, overheating the whole system. So it hasn't, I mean, it's not even really getting hot while I'm moving. So this is the 3rd time I'm heating it up. I've let it cool and heat up and cool and heat up. Hopefully 3 or 4 heat cycles should be enough, according to the instructions, to seal it. I'm giving it every chance it has. If this stuff doesn't work, well, then this stuff is absolutely garbage. They guarantee it though. They guarantee you the price of the stuff. It's $50 and it has carbon fiber, blah blah blah, whatever. Anyways, we'll see. It'd be interesting to see if this little Honda that somebody gave my wife will work like it's supposed to when I put the 2 spark plugs back in and put the coil packs on them. Alright, so I put all the spark plugs back in. Now I'm just gonna drive it around and see if it worked actually, or if it was a complete waste of money. Alright, so at this point I've driven I don't know, 150, 200 miles. I gave it every chance possible to, well, that light there is because of an error code from my ignition from when I was turning cylinders off, so ignore that. But I gave this thing every chance possible to seal my cylinder head. Now I can't with confidence say that it finished it, right? I'm pretty sure that I still have coolant loss somewhere. And it plugged up my heater core. There are other drawbacks. I mean, I don't need a heater in Hawaii, but on this particular trip, since I've started the car and I drove it, I think I drove, let's see, 11 miles, plus it took me 25 to get to town. Yeah, 35 miles at uphill, downhill, 55, 60, and then, you know, 10 miles in town, or 20 miles an hour or whatever. So I had every opportunity to overheat. And I didn't top it off this morning. I didn't top off my cooling system. So whatever losses it had from, say, yesterday when I drove, I think like 90 miles, because everything in Hawaii is very far away from each other. So boy, I can't wait to get my 67 GTO over here or pay the back taxes on that V8 Supra I have. But for now, we're driving the Honda, and I wanted to do this test, whether or not this product works. And again, you're still gonna have coolant losses, but so far it's been a couple 100 miles, and I can confidently say that it works. It doesn't overheat. It used to, no, to compare to what it used to do, I guess I should have taken a video of that. It was overheating when only running on 3 cylinders. It would overheat on a straight road going 45, 50 miles an hour. So if you put 4 cylinders together and actually ran all 4 spark plugs, it would overheat within 10 miles. And it would overheat a little bit less with 3 cylinders if you disconnected one of the, you know, the bad cylinders, but it would still overheat. Whereas now, running all 4 cylinders for the last 150, 200 miles, no overheating. But my heater doesn't work. And I mean, the blower fan works, but the heater core is plugged up, like straight up. It doesn't work. And what else? What else should I? Oh yeah, my overflow tank. That tube is plugged up completely. So anytime the natural process of overflow happens, because overflow tanks, that's what they do. They're a reservoir, and then it sucks that water back into the radiator when it needs it, and so on and so on. That system completely doesn't work. So it's a one-way system. It'll splatter ceramic all over my engine bay, and every couple days you have to top off the cooling system because there's no return, because the cooling system overflow is plugged up just like my heater core. So there are 2 drawbacks to this, but the one advantage is I can continue driving this car without having to spend tons and tons of money on a car that I would frankly rather not spend money on. So it's a good temporary measure. I don't know how long this is gonna last, so go ahead and check the description box below, and as time continues and I continue using this car, or my cousin continues using this car, I'll keep it updated in the comments section so that you could know, say 3 months down the line, whether or not it actually held, or whether I had to take the cylinder head apart, or whether I just had to sell the car or whatever. So yeah, it works. It really does work. Now, this is it right here. Bars leak. And it doesn't say in these instructions to do what I did. It doesn't say to unscrew the spark plugs, but I will tell you right now, I had 2 other bottles of a very similar substance, which is probably why my heater's plugged up. But I had 2 other bottles, and they didn't work when I didn't disconnect the spark plugs, because the only way you're gonna get your head gasket filled up is by allowing that positive cooling pressure and escape into the void, right? So if it's not an escape, but it's positive pressure from the actual cylinders, then what you're gonna have is just constantly overheating. You'll waste money on this product, and there's no point to it. So if you do it properly, it works. If you don't, well then don't expect it to work, because 2 other bottles didn't. I'll tell you that much. Well, it's been another 50 miles. I think I'm at 65 miles now. There's some interesting people down there. I don't know what they want. I think they want to ride or to get across the road. Who knows? Anyways, yeah, it's been 50 miles since the last cut, since I've shown you the bottle and all that, and it shows no sign of overheating in stop and go city traffic. It's not the hottest today. I think it's like 75, 80, but again, no signs of overheating. I have not topped off the radiator for the last 150 miles. Wait, no, 200 miles. Yeah, it's been 200 miles since I've topped off the radiator. Now, I'm fairly confident that I'm gonna need to top this off about once a week if I drive regularly, about 400 or 500 miles a week. What I'm also fairly confident in is, as long as I'm the only one driving the car, or Evelyn, I don't foresee any real trouble in the future for the life of this engine. That's how confident I am in this. You know, so yeah, I'm fairly pleased, because I'm not about to take apart a Honda motor that I don't really care for too much and do a bunch of work that's worth more than, say, the price of a wrecked Honda with a good motor. It's just not my thing. So yes, in an emergency, this will fix most head gaskets, but remember, you just got to do it right. You got to give it a chance. If you remove the spark plugs from the damaged cylinders, that's the only way it has any chance of working. Just, that's something you must remember. I know I've said this before, but you know, it's one of those stamp your foot, make sure to remind you kind of deals. Only way it's gonna work is if you give it a chance. Now, if you have an external leak, by all means, go ahead and just run all your cylinders. You know, external leaks, yes, it will fix those. But if you have an actual head gasket cylinder pressure leak, there is no other way it's gonna work. I know this because I tried 2 other products. They're the same exact thing, despite what they claim. And again, absolutely not a chance that they were gonna work. They started to work, and then all they did was clog up my heater. They continued overheating. I did this 3rd try completely different with you know, the removed spark plugs. I let it heat cycle from stone cold all the way to operating temperature, which was about 200 degrees. 2 or 3 times for sure, maybe even a 4th time. I let it cure overnight, and I have to say that that's what contributes to its success. So yeah, overall it's not a myth. It really works. Yeah. Well, take care, guys, and hopefully in the next video you are going to see a whole lot more V8 action, because I have plenty of V8 cars and only a few that actually work. Oh, the irony.